So we have a fascinating finding here from a new Pew poll. This is Obama's approval rating broken down by generation. I want everybody to take a look at this. Now, we just did a segment, like literally the very last segment we did about the bad side of Obama, and there's a lot there. He's blocking a really progressive DNC head, Keith Ellison, from getting that position because Keith Ellison is against the TPP and Obama's for the TPP. And Obama has done many establishment things that I disagree with tooth and nail. But why the fuck is it? Take a look at this. Look at his approval rating among millennials at the end there. It just shot up recently. So it was, kind of bottoming out there around 60% or so, which is that's not terrible. I mean, 60% among millennials, that means most millennials just like you and they fairly consistently like you. But now it shot up to 77%. So why is that? And why is it just recently that happened? Well, take a look at Obama's second term. Now, Obama's still doing some very establishment shitty things, I grant you. And again, we just covered it. But the bulk of Obama's establishment shittiness was in the first term. And it was in the beginning of the second term. In the second term overall, he's been way, way more progressive. So I have a theory as to why it's recently that his numbers have shot up. What has Obama done? What are the prominent things Obama has done very recently? Well, for one thing, he broke the record on pardons and commutations for freeing nonviolent drug offenders. He's basically been going through everybody's records with a fine-tooth comb, and all the nonviolent drug offenders he's releasing. I want him to go further. I want him to release all of them. But he did break the record in releasing these nonviolent drug offenders, so you got to give credit where credit is due, and I think millennials are doing exactly that. That's been a big story in the news recently. He also increased overtime pay. It used to be $23,000 a year and less. If you make that, you get overtime by law. Now it's $47,000. Now, I think the court's attempting to block that, but he pushed for it, and this was a big news story. And also, guys, the fucking Cuba deal. The Cuba deal. I mean, look, millennials, we look at a lot of the decisions the older generations make, and we go, you guys are fucking moronic. Like, oh, yeah, Cuba, yeah, I mean, so what? The CIA tried to assassinate Fidel Castro over 600 times, and they were a puppet fascist state that the U.S. put in the dictator, and we tried to, subjugate them under our imperialist rule, but yeah, we're still in the right, and we're going to give them the cold shoulder and do an embargo if they don't do what we want. Millennials look at that and they go, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. And that's not saying we like Castro. That's saying, why are you guys acting like idiots? And by the way, since Obama did that deal, Cuba has legalized small businesses. So what Republicans claim they wanted to do all along, which is open up the markets in Cuba, Obama did that, and he did that through conversation and negotiation. So millennials look at that deal and they go, oh, look, we're not being idiots. We're actually opening up lines of communication with a country that we were dicks towards. So this is what he's done recently. And recently, his approval rating among millennials has shot up. You know what? Because we're informed and we're on the right side of the issues. So if you do the right thing, we will like you. See, there's this idea that some people have, the voters are all so stupid. That's why, stupid voter, that's stupid. Except they're totally reasonable. If you look at the opinion polls, the American people are liberal on almost every issue. I mean, 80% want to raise the minimum wage, 58% want to legalize marijuana. I mean, the list goes on and on. Only 17% want to still be involved in all these wars overseas. So they're actually super reasonable. And it turns out when you do the right thing, your approval rating spikes. 77% among millennials right now for Obama. Now, again, you go back when he's being more establishment and more conservative, that approval rating drops because we're watching you. We're educated this generation. We know what's going on. So that's why I think Obama's approval rating has shot up among millennials recently. He still does establishment shitty things. But since big news stories have been positive recently, oh, good, we like that. And the final thing I want to say is there's one more reason I think why his approval rating's shooting up. Trump is coming in. And Trump's a clown. And Trump's a buffoon. And he does have this feeling of instability and insecurity. And you don't want your leader to be like this thin-skinned wreck. And that's kind of what he is. And to say nothing about policy, and policy is a whole nother issue. But you look at Obama and you go, oh, yeah, I mean, he did a lot of shitty things too, but it's the devil I know versus the devil I don't know, and the devil I don't know is super duper scary in Trump. So Obama is much more popular with millennials now than he's ever been, and I think that's the reason why.